They used to call me Satan. The common rule is that you call people devil or diablo, but Satan, that was the name for me. I was a normal kid, family, my dad, my mom, and I was 4. They divorced, so I mainly grew up with my mother, who married a different guy. I would change schools all the time. I think that started, for me. I started feeling different from everybody. I was always the new guy, so I could basically start all over again. I wouldn't really care about school or my grades or anything. So I always like to be the bad kid, I always like to push people around. I always relate to violence. Always violence for me was the first resource all the time since I was being brought up. So when I married, I come to the U.S. and I married this wonderful woman who was willing to give everything for me, but I just didn't love her. Yeah, I got a job soon, and life was good. We had a couple kids, and I just felt that emptiness inside. I didn't really, I wasn't happy with who I was being at the time, and I was doing everything for the wrong reasons. We were too young, and I was too self-centered, playing guitar, bars, and everything, and started cheating on her. Then I run into a friend, and this friend introduced me to drugs. To me, it felt like an instant relief. I take the first dose, and it's just like, oh, it's great. It's like beautiful. It was crystal meth. It was crystal meth. I felt this instant rush, and everything, I thought my understanding was better, and I felt like accomplished. And in less than a week, I think I became completely addicted. I didn't even know. I started using almost half of my check at one point to support my habit, and then my behavior changed. So I got fired. I said, you know what? I'm just going to get me a large amount, and I'm going to support my habit. I will probably just sell a little bit and support my habit. So that's basically how it started. Soon after, I leave my wife, and I find myself getting into trouble on the streets. And I was in people's territory, so I was gonna get approached, and I did. And one day I run into this guy. He was having a fight, and yeah, they beat him up, but he would just never give up. He was real tough. I asked him if he wanted to stay with me and just keep me company and watch my back. Pedro and me used to be like more than brothers. At one point, I gave him my full trust, and so he gave me his. We started experimenting with mixing cocaine with crystal meth and actually shooting it, injecting it. It was, how can I describe? Almost heavenly. That feeling of completeness and to know that you have a friend that has your back is just an amazing feeling. And that's how we got to the places where we got. When it was time to deliver, when violence came over, we were a powerful team. And soon after, he started really hating. People started telling him, you know what, this guy is who he is because you backed him up, and maybe you should come with us. Why cannot you be the star of the show? Why you have to be his shadow, you know? And it really, I guess everybody's desire is to be up front, to be the man, you know? So it wasn't strange for him to betray me. You know, it was just another day, business as usual, and then this guy comes over to my place, and I gave him a nice little amount, and then he asked me for a ride. He was like, "You want to take me down there? Because I don't want to get caught up with this, you know. And if I'm with you, no problem." And he didn't live that far, and it was within my my city, if you want to call it. So we get in the truck. I drive never thinking. I never got a glimpse of sense of danger. It just never occurred to me that something would happen to me. So I leave the place with no gun, and I just go take them, you know? Just go drop them off, come right back.
Oh, this is good. Thanks, Mike.
My friend June, she used to live like 2 blocks and a half. I managed to make it to the door, and I was like almost breathless.
Mike! Oh my god. Mike, what happened? What happened? Talk to me. Oh my god.
And June just puts her hand in the back of me, and I think her finger went inside my skull. You can actually see the scar. Next thing I know, the cops and the news and the ambulance, they are at her door. They take me to the hospital. And they leave me in a corner. And I realized I was gonna die. I would live in fear, just traumatized by what just had happened, and the fact that I was vulnerable to anybody coming in, and I couldn't defend myself. That was bad, you know. I couldn't do anything. 3 weeks and a half, a month or so, I felt that I could get up again and go out into the street, and everybody thought I was dead. So I come back to the streets, and I'm back. And the word spread out quick. So I expected people to show up, to really finish the job, and I wanted to kill them. See, I wanted to make them, torture them. I didn't want it just to take revenge. I wanted these guys to know that they really mess with Satan. I had an old friend, Simon. We used to play in a band together with Simon, Ruben, some other guys. We used to play parties and stuff. And so I went to his house looking for Ruben, because Ruben and I would occasionally do cocaine. So I go to Simon's house and...
Simon. Hey, Mike. What's up?
And I'm like, is there any chance you can get a hold of Ruben? And he's like, you know what? Yeah, hang on. He shows up, and I'm thinking, oh, well, this guy, he's got it going on. He looked clean and everything. He was with his daughter. And he's got the cover, maybe he's really doing things. And I asked him for a line. And he's like, you want a line? Sure. I got the stuff, man. He grabs the Bible, and I'm thinking, oh, this guy's brilliant, dude. He's got the stash right there. He shows me some scripture, Jeremiah 29:11. I remember that. And I'm thinking, okay, where's the line, Like, it didn't make any sense to me. It was like, what are you talking about, So I said, whoa, that's good. You know what? I got to go. And he's like, where are you going? I thought, never mind. I'm just going back. And he's like, where are you going to spend the night tonight? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go back. He's like, why don't you stay at my house this one night, he said. And I got to talk to you about this. Just one night, man. You have all your life ahead of you. Just one night. Once again, I don't know why, but I went.
Come on in. Pásale, Mike, pásale. Pásale, pásale. Amor, mira quién está aquí. ¿Qué hiciste? ¿Qué estabas haciendo? Ya tenemos tiempo que no te veíamos. ¿Dónde andabas? ¿Y qué pasó con lo que te sucedió ya?
By that point, it's time to go to bed. I would say like 15 days of strong withdrawals. Then I could get up, and we went to the park, and I remember walking his dog. He would take me to church and this and that. I would always fall asleep. One Sunday during worship, I was feeling a little bit more alive, And the words are penetrating me, And at this point, I became really emotional. And so I felt this feeling of sadness, Call it remorse, call it whatever you want. Everything at once. It was in there, and it was just overwhelming, more than anything I could take at the time. And I start crying. I start weeping. And one tear falls down, and then another one, and then there was an inclination of truly asking for forgiveness. And I took it, and I was just like, okay, God, if you're real, I want you to really come into my life and change me and show me the way. And here I am. Once again, nothing to lose. Then I started going around. I went to my ex-wife and talked to her and asked her for forgiveness. See, in order for forgiveness to work, you have to ask for it, and it's gotta be granted. And then everything started working for me. You know, I realized that not only by being sober, you can live a good life, but I started really valuing the things. You know, I had lost everything, almost my life, so everything changed little by little. You know. You know, I became to like myself again. And that's really a miracle. See? Only God can change you like that. I was a self-centered guy, and I was evil, and I was dumb, and I was naive. Just to know that there's a God that can truly forgive you and move you away from that, it's amazing. That's a real miracle. You know, I only pray to God that I never fall again. And I pray to God every day, and I thank Him for what He's done to me in my life. God is real, and God is great.